Amy Eskridge's death has sparked immediate alarm, with the FBI and the White House launching a joint investigation. She was a leading scientist in anti-gravity and aerospace research, handling projects with sensitive federal clearance. Only a month before her death, she sent a text insisting she would never commit suicide or harm anyone, words now circulating as a chilling warning. Her body was found in her Alabama home under circumstances officially ruled a suicide, but questions remain. Experts note her work connected her to classified programs, some involving technology with potential national security implications. This is part of a growing pattern. At least 10 other scientists in similar high-level projects have vanished or died mysteriously in recent years. The FBI is now attempting to link these cases, while officials remain tight-lipped due to security concerns. Online discussions erupt, with some claiming tragedy and coincidence, others suspecting foul play or hidden agendas. As the investigation unfolds, the nation watches closely, questioning what really happened and whether justice or truth will ever surface.
Welcome to this live. For those who are gonna watch later, welcome to this live. Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your brother Shamar with Ancient Watchmen. Welcome back to Sundays. I was supposed to do Fridays, and I had to work long hours and stuff, and I was unable to do lives these past Fridays, but we're back. I think we're gonna do Sundays from now on. I'm not sure yet. But welcome to this live. This is your brother Shamar, your host with the Ancient Watchman, aka the Water Wizard. We're gonna get started. I'm sure you guys have seen in the news, you guys have seen on TikTok, you guys have seen on what else? Instagram and whatever the like. There's this I don't know, there's something weird going on. Something's going on. And it feels like a little eerie because these are not people that are just randoms or whatever. These are top of the notch secret government projects that these people were part of. And mysteriously, they've disappeared. Some of them have died or been killed and whatever they like. And no autopsy, no investigation, none of that. It's all been hidden. And so we're gonna get started, so stick around. Welcome to these live.
Tesla had it, Eugene had it, Ken Wheeler, of course, katana wielding, time traveling Dan Cooper. And the fifth one is my dad, to independently discover anti-gravity. It's been independently discovered 4 other times. It has been suppressed every single fucking time. And he said, I don't think they're gonna suppress it this time. He said, I think you're in the clear. They obviously know about you. He was like, if you haven't had a US government agent come to you and say, stop, shut the fuck up, if that hasn't happened, they're going to let you do it. My degree, I have a double degree in biology and chemistry. I did quantum chemistry and organic chemistry and inorganic. I almost finished a PhD in biotechnology. I was doing recombinant protein engineering. He told me that the US government would give me a shit ton of money to keep me from selling it to China. And so I called him and I'm like, can you refer me to an active US Army general, please, to talk about this transaction? And that killed the conversation. Radio silence. They fuck with me. I'm tired of it. Hal is actually extremely evil. He's very quiet. He listens more than he talks. Quiet and sweet and gentle like a nice old grandpa, but he's evil as fuck. There's multiple parties looking at each other like, is Amy not going to publish soon? Didn't we tell this bitch 3 years ago that we kill people for this? Is she not listening? So I have these 2 different scenarios floating constantly in my life where I have people being like, do it, do it, do it, you're the one. And then I have multiple people being like, they're going to kill you. Because you're a young woman, they're going to rape you before they kill you too. I have people breaking into my apartment, digging through my panty drawer so that I notice. Let me tell you, I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. We're the Rocket City. We're the biggest deal you've never heard of. Von Braun was here and we won the space race. We developed the Saturn V here. We won the space race here in Alabama, whether you've heard of it or not. I can tell you for a fact, so many prototypes. Only prototype built like this in the world. You turn it on the first time, it works exactly like you thought it would. You apply for more funding to test it, they cancel it and melt it down for scrap metal and sell it. We could be on the moons of Jupiter if we had spent money differently. I can tell you the names of so many NASA scientists that are depressed and they want to kill themselves. Basically, there's a calamity. There's like a apocalypse scenario in the near future. It wipes out most of like everything. And there's the ones that go underground and survive. And then there's the ones that somehow stay on the surface and miraculously don't die. Extraterrestrial, extra implies that they're from somewhere else. Ultra-terrestrial, they're us from the future. They're from here, from the future. Have you heard of the P-52s and the P-47s? P-47 is present plus 47,000 years. P-52 is present plus 52,000 years. I can't even describe it. It's crazy.
Yeah, so what we're going to talk about is for entertainment purpose only, or entertainment purposes only. This is satire commentary. This is not real. It's just pure entertainment for the folks out there that have nothing to do and they're bored on Sundays. So you guys can come check us out. I think we're going to do every Sunday night. You have a cup of wine, you're smoking some herbs, and then you're just listening. So, yeah, that was Amy. She was, we're gonna dive deep into all the scientists that have been gone missing or strangely been gone, disappear, killed, who knows what's going on. But something's going on, and we're gonna talk about it, and you guys draw your own conclusions on your own timing according to your own research. Whether or not this is just a conspiracy theory, well, that remains to be seen. Just like the rest of the stuff that we talked about for decades and stuff. And many whistleblowers came out, and obviously they blowed the whistle, and everybody listened, and all of a sudden they disappear. All of a sudden. So Amy is it's not just any random. It's just these people are super nerds, extra super nerds, bro. Like we're talking about extra nerds, bro. Like beyond. Imagine building a machine that would make rockets obsolete. Imagine knowing a secret that could rewrite the laws of physics. And then imagine being so afraid of the man who wanted to keep it quiet that you told a friend, quote, if you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices. If your head gets chopped off, right? So that was what Amy was saying, that she was saying that if you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off. If you do it in private, they will burn down your house while you're sleeping in your bed, and it wouldn't even make the news, end quote. Right? Because she was receiving a lot of death threats because she knew too much of these secret projects, government funded. These are black projects. These are deep into the secrets of the United States government. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. This is not real. It's just a conversation. Conspiracy theories, as they say. And so she realized that we could be using this technology to better humanity. We could basically like get off of oil. Now, imagine if like just one technology, right? Just imagine one technology that these people are aware of, these people know about, these people have, what's the word? Back engineer from certain exotic crafts or like UFOs or UPAs or whatever. They've been working on this, trying to trace back these technologies that, all of a sudden, they could basically wipe out all these big corporations that are taking people's money like oils and carbon oils and carbon-based energy source and whatnot. And so imagine one technology coming out into the light of the public, the light of the world, and all of a sudden, like, you got free electricity. As we're gonna find out, like, a lot of these science that they were missing, they were working on certain projects that could literally benefit humanity, or they could help humanity in some sort of way at a global scale, right? But everything's about greed and money. So that was Dr. Amy Eskridge, a 34-year-old anti-gravity researcher, found dead from a gunshot wound just days after claiming she was being attacked with directed energy weapons. Her death was ruled a suicide. But Amy Eskridge is just one name, one face in a photograph. She's part of a list: 13 scientists, engineers, and intelligence officers, all connected to the most sensitive secrets of the United States that the United States possesses: anti-gravity propulsion, nuclear weapons, and unidentified aerial phenomena, which is basically the new name they gave to the UFO phenomena. Now they changed it to UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. In the last few years, they have all either died under strange circumstances or vanished into thin air, leaving behind wallets, phones, and nothing but questions. The US government says that these are isolated tragedies, accidents, suicides, coincidence. Well, but when you lay all 13 cases side by side, a chilling pattern emerges. So tonight, we're not telling a ghost story. We're following the paper trail. We're asking, what were they working on, and what did someone not want them to reveal? This is the investigation into the 13 scientists.
I found out that I was being physically surveilled by the following method. My ex-boyfriend and I realized that people had been breaking into our apartment while we were gone together in the same vehicle. And so, like, I'm in the apartment, I'm about to go to work, and I'm like, why don't you take out the trash and scope out the parking lot and make sure it's okay before I go to work? So he goes out there and he's like, there's this weird fucking Lexus. It's like a silver Lexus. This is a shitty apartment. Like, why is there really nice Lexus in the parking lot? And it has tinted windows that are not street legal, like just totally dark, totally black tinted windows that are not possibly street legal. And so he comes back in and we're standing in our bedroom window looking at the Lexus and talking about it. And I say out loud, maybe we should walk over there later and take a picture of the license plate, because the Lexus is across the parking lot from us, but it's backed in, so you can't see the license plate. Within 2 minutes of me saying, hey, we should walk over there later and take a picture of the license plate, we were still standing there at the window looking at it, talking about it. And an Eastern European looking motherfucker with a black beanie, dressed all in black, in his 50s or 60s, walked out of the apartment directly across from ours holding a license plate. And he opened the trunk of the Lexus and he took out some tools and he changed the license plate right in front of our fucking faces. And then he walked back to his apartment and he put the old license plate on the front patio and went inside, left it outside. And it was literally like, come get the license plate. I have more where this came from. Come get the license plate. And then after that, the Lexus started tailing me. And every time I saw the Lexus, it had a different license plate. It would be like Alabama plates, a different state plate. It would be random dealer plates, none of which were local, just like cardboard temporary dealer plates, none of which were any local dealers. Every time I saw it, it was different plates. It would follow me to the gas station to go get beer. I would go get beer at the gas station, and that Lexus follows me. And even my ex called an Uber once. He called an Uber. The Lexus pulled out from the spot across the parking lot from our apartment.
So yeah, so that was what was going on with her before she was unalived. Mind you, it's this thing is deeper than what we even imagined. So anyway, let me see. I want to see how can I do this because I want to share. I want to share all the information regarding all the 13 scientists that have died at this very moment. There's a list of well, there's more than that, but like the most renowned, the most recent ones between the year 2020 and then 2023, 2024, 2025, and then 2026 is like basically the lapse of time that a lot of these top-notch scientists have basically, you know, gone missing, unalive, killed, whatever they like. So, what are we left with? A list of 13 brilliant minds, a collection of suicides that family members dispute, quote, accidental overdoses, end quote, that friends call impossible, and missing persons who walked away from their entire lives, leaving behind their phones, their keys, and in one cases, their glasses. And so, a lot of people are speculating that a lot of these people that left with their phones and so on and so forth is because they didn't want to be tracked. I think a lot of these the surviving scientists that have not been found or whatever, at least that's the speculation, is that they basically went off grid so that they would not be unalive, but who knows who. And so is the government doing it? Is the CIA? Is the whatever? Who knows? We will never know. We're not part of that world. We're not in deep into that environment, that, you know, living situations and whatnot. And so, but these scientists, they obviously went to school. They got education, and so they got them into that environment. So these people know what they're talking about. These people are not just some random conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hat individuals, as many of the conspiracy theorists are labeled as or seen or imagined. That's what we look like when that's not true. But anyway, so uh, this is why some of the scientists completely they just vanished.
11 scientists are missing or passed away. Melissa Casillas was also a mother. I have all the surveillance footage. Here's everything we know. Melissa worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory. She left work to drop some lunch off for her daughter. She told her family she'd be continuing work from home that day. Casillas was last seen around 2:18 p.m. This was on surveillance footage. She was walking quickly and she was alone. Melissa was known to take early morning walks, but an afternoon one was unlikely, her daughter said. She left both her personal cell phone and her business cell phone behind. Both of the phones had been factory reset. They were completely wiped clean. Her mother says that there is absolutely no connection to her and all of the missing scientists. She's also stating that the New Mexico State Police are not communicating with her anymore. They hired their own investigator. Police found what they believe are Melissa's shoes. A pair of sneakers were found in New Mexico's Carson National Forest. That's just about 2 hours from where McCaslin disappeared. He's also a high-profile missing case. He also vanished without a trace. Melissa has not been seen since June of last year.
Yeah, so there it is right there. That's just one of the 13, you know, the most renowned and the most well-known at this moment in 2025, from the year 2024 all the way until year 2026, which is now. So the official narrative from the United States asks you to believe one thing, that this is all a tragic random coincidence, that a plasma physicist from MIT, retired Air Force Major General who once commanded a top research lab, and a young whistleblower ready to testify on UFOs, just happened to all meet untimely ends within a few years of each other. You see that?
In fact, tonight, at least 13 high-ranking scientists and researchers have either died or have gone missing entirely, all of them tied to nuclear, defense, or space technology. Some of them even warned the public before their alleged suicides that they were not suicidal. First, you have Amy Eskridge, a young, rising researcher, reported dead by suicide in 2022. But before her death, she reportedly said something chilling.
I'm scared. And over the past 12 months, it's been like escalating, like more aggressive, more invasive, digging through my underwear drawer and sexual threats over the past like 3 to 6 months. And now I'm like, I have to publish. I have to publish. It's only going to get worse until I publish. There's no way out of this up situation.
Exactly what she was talking about, we're not sure. Certainly had concerns, she said, about being watched. Even reportedly told friends and family she would never kill herself. And then she turned up dead. That was in 2022. Then you have Michael David Hicks, whose work was connected to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Hicks dies in 2023, and details surrounding his death remain limited publicly. But his name becomes part of a growing list tied to high-level research. In 2024, former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer Matthew James Sullivan is found dead. Interestingly, right before he could testify in a federal whistleblower case about UFOs. There's been no release for a cause of death there. Also in 2024, Frank Mywald, a senior engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, passed away. His work was on space instrumentation and detection of life on distant moons. His cause of death was never made public. No autopsy was ever performed. Another loss, another quiet headline. At this point, neither case is raising eyebrows nationally, right? But then we move to 2025, and that's where things get really bizarre. During the last year alone, we saw over a half dozen disappearances and or deaths tied to our nuclear industry. In May, when Anthony Chavez, a researcher at the Los Alamos nuclear facility, went missing. Reports say he just simply walked off without any of his personal belongings. Then you have Monica Reza, who disappeared in June of that same year, 2025. Also worked at Los Alamos nuclear facility as a NASA senior aerospace engineer, helping create a special alloy for rockets. She went missing while out on a hike. 4 days later, Melissa Kaisis would also be reported missing, also in New Mexico, also reportedly got up and walked off without any personal belongings. Do you see the trend here? And just now today, we're learning about another death, the death of Joshua LeBlanc. This death taking place in Alabama. LeBlanc was a 29-year-old NASA engineer working on nuclear propulsion systems. He was found dead in his Tesla after a crash. He was burned beyond recognition, but his personal belongings were all left at home. Reports say his car sat in an airport hours earlier, but no trip had been planned. How about Stephen Garcia, who vanished without a trace from New Mexico in August of that year? Garcia worked as a property custodian at a facility that manufactures more than 80% of the non-nuclear components for U.S. nuclear weapons. Nuno Loureiro, a top physicist at MIT, the director of the Plasma Science and Fusion Center, he was involved in the kind of research tied to advanced energy and weapons. He was shot and killed outside of his home. And by the way, no arrests have been made there. And again, that's all just 2025 alone. This year, though, it's gotten even stranger. And we're not even halfway through. First, in February, astronomer and astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer was shot and killed randomly outside of his home in Texas. Now, in that case, an arrest has been made, but the case marks another highly specialized mind taken suddenly and mysteriously. Then, days later, William Neil McCaslin goes missing again in New Mexico. His work reportedly centered around UFOs and classified space programs. The retired Air Force general, like many on this list, also vanished, leaving while out on a hike. But again, like so many others, he left all of his personal belongings behind. And to this day, he has not been found. And that brings us to today, where just days ago, another UFO researcher, maybe the most famous of all of them, David Wilcock, was found dead in Colorado from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Every day that I have on Earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing, and I've had a really rough week. That's kind of like every week, but somehow we keep on making it through all.
Somehow we keep on making it through all this, he said. One day, he says, every day is a blessing, and he's glad there's an investigation because scientists are going missing, and the next day he's found dead. Authorities claiming from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It's just another layer to a massive and growing mystery. a mystery that is going nowhere. And today, as we told you, Capitol Hill is now taking notice.
By all accounts, the United States has the superior nuclear program in the world. So all the usual suspects, China, North Korea, Iran, Russia, they're all, on the suspect list. But there are a lot of, Eastern European countries and other countries that could be involved as well.
Interesting there. That was Congressman James Comer speaking on the issue last night on Fox News. Right? He's outright accusing China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia of likely being involved, but he fails to mention a specific country with a long history of tactics like this. And by the way, who is that country? It's Israel. In March of this year, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that Israeli strikes had successfully eliminated top Iranian nuclear scientists involved in developing bombs to destroy Israel. In 2025, Joshua Zarka, Israel's ambassador to France, confirmed that Israeli operations had killed at least 14 physicists and engineers, which he described as the brains behind Iran's nuclear program. And also in 2025,
what is going on?
Following U.S. and Israeli airstrikes, Israeli military officials called the deaths of more than a dozen Iranian scientists a, quote, significant blow to Iran's ability to pursue weapons of mass destruction, using intelligence from Mossad to justify the timing of those attacks. See, this strategy is not new. When science becomes strategic, and it is in so many ways, the scientists themselves become targets. If you control the science, you control the future. And to call all of this just a coincidence means to ignore what is happening right in front of your eyes.
All right, there it is right there. So I wanna do it differently. I wanna divide it into segments. So the first segment that I wanna talk about will be the anti-gravity and UAP cluster, which is a group of scientists that were missing that were part of these cluster in this branch of science of anti-gravity technology, right? Like just like the UFOs seem to move, like they seem to move in through like time and space. It's almost like they're bending time, like they're not affected by the laws of this world. Like they're not their craft is not affected by the laws of physics of this physical world, this three-dimensional place, right? And so a lot of these, especially Bob Lazar, I don't know if you guys know Bob Lazar is basically like kind of like the first whistleblower when it comes to like UFOs that are in the United States are in possession of. I think they have 13 UFOs that they have captured or they have, whatever, shut down and whatnot. And so they've been using, according to a lot of these whistleblowers, they've been using these spaceships, these crafts that come from another dimension, right? And they're trying to back engineer. And so they were able to advance certain things like your touch phone. That technology comes from these crafts. Now, everything we're talking about is all conspiracy theory. It's once again, I want to make a disclosure that this is a conversation of satire type, like you guys can draw your own conclusions and whatever you like. But yeah, that's basically what they say. They say that a lot of these technologies are available already, like time travel. They said it's already there. They've done it. They've done deep experiments. I think I'm going to touch about like certain aspects because this subject branches out to different things. Time travel, basically opening up portals into other dimensions. Like, I don't know if you guys seen those TV shows called the Stargate program or Stargate Atlantis, Stargate, whatever. So, basically the United States has a Stargate where they're able to travel into other dimensions, places, and time and space, and be able to travel millions of light years into you're just crossing over and you're there. So I'm gonna divide it into 4 sections and segments. So this first segment is the anti-gravity UAP cluster, and we're gonna break it down and then we'll go from there. All right, so let's start at the heart of the storm, the Anti-Gravity and UAP Research Group. These are the names most tightly bound to the idea that someone somewhere has already cracked the code of gravity control and that knowledge is being violently protected. By who? Whoever wants this technology, these, I I guess they got the secrets, or they were trying to get the secrets. They didn't want to share them, and they got killed. Who knows? We will never know. Again, we already spoke about Amy Eskridge, co-founder of the Institute for Exotic Science in Huntsville, Alabama. Her work focused on the TR-3B. You guys remember that when there was a triangular shape black craft that was basically moving very silently, that a lot of people have seen it, especially in Phoenix and all the places where these planes basically began to appear way back in the 90s and the early 2000s and whatever the like. I don't know if you guys remember that. So that her work, Amy, her work was focused on the TR-3B, a supposed triangular anti-gravity aircraft. In 2022, she was found dead from a gunshot wound. Authorities called it a suicide. Her family and colleagues absolutely reject that. They point to her claims of being attacked by a directed energy weapon that left burns on her body. She had also explicitly stated that she would never take her own life. Number two, this is within the same cluster of the anti-gravity and UAP technologies, right? So this is the second scientist that belongs in that category in these secret sciences and projects that they got going on. This is Dr. Ning Lee, a physicist at the University of Alabama. Also in Huntsville, right? Just like what she was saying. She was saying that Huntsville is basically the Las Vegas of the science projects, so propulsions, anti-gravity, secret projects and whatnot, these exotic technologies that like we sometimes see in movies, right? So she let's see, where were we? So a physicist at the University of Alabama, also in Huntsville. Her research into superconductors aim to generate measurable anti-gravity effects. She died in 2021 from complications tied to a bizarre 2014 incident where she was struck by a car while crossing a campus street. The accident caused severe brain damage and early onset Alzheimer's. It was ruled an accident, but the circumstances surrounding her long decline kept her on the list. This is the third one within the same category. Matthew James Sullivan, a U.S. Air Force intelligence veteran who positioned himself as a UAP whistleblower. See that? So he was about to blow the whistle on a lot of these things that are going on, just like some of the people that have come out and became whistleblowers in public, right? So that because they fear for their lives. So they began to spill all these secrets that the United States has basically like 13 spaceships that they have been studying, and they have been back engineering them in order to create these technologies that they're about to like bring out into the world, or they're not going to bring out into the world, or they're going to keep it for themselves. Who knows? So U.S. Air Force intelligence veteran who positioned himself as a UAP whistleblower, he was scheduled to testify before Congress about classified programs when he was found dead in his Virginia home in May 2024. The official cause? An accidental overdose from alcohol mixed with prescription drugs. Friends said it was impossible. He was in a positive, determined mindset and was actively preparing this testimony. So he was going to speak in front of Congress. And all of a sudden, boom. Retired Major General William Neil McCaslin, a former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory, the very place where breakthrough aerospace technology is developed. In February 2026, at age 68, he walked away from his Albuquerque home and vanished. He left behind his phone, his prescription glasses, and his wearable devices. He took only his hiking boots, wallet, and a revolver. He hasn't been seen since. 4 brilliant people connected to the secrets of gravity and unexplained aerial craft. 1 suicide, 1 tragic accident, 1 overdose, 1 missing. Already you can feel the question forming. Is this just bad luck or coincidence?
Are you familiar with there being any bases that our government or the cabal might have that would be under the ocean?
Yes.
And how would that work based on what you know? How would you build a base?
Within the this conspiracy movement, there's a movement out there where a lot of this information comes out, and everybody, if you're in that world, you know what's going on. You've seen, you heard stuff. Many whistleblowers have come out for years, many years. Many whistleblowers have come out, and a lot of them have gone because this information is so powerful that whoever has this technology basically will rewrite the rules of warfare on this planet, and it will be, it's very powerful technologies that could be used for destruction, or they could be used for creation and creating a better world, and basically elevating humanity to the next level in the spiritual evolution. So
Well, this is what it looks like. This is real. This is yesterday and today is the very first public unveiling in a public presentation of Project Looking Glass. A human being is about this tall. This is built in underground bases. It is colossal in size. And what happens is when you fire this thing up, these rings start going in all different directions. It shields off the barrel of water inside, which is just like your pineal gland. The water inside flips over into time-space, which then captures argon gas, captures visual images, and this is what it looks like. It becomes huge, glowing, all the way out to these posts, which are used as stabilizers for the energy field. Now, it doesn't start out with an image of the Earth. That's just there as a placeholder, although you could see the whole Earth like that if you wanted to. That's not usually what happens. Well, contact, right? We have been given the technology right in front of our faces in the movies. They just don't tell you what it's for. In what? 13 Ghosts? Well, thank you. I'll have to check that one out. Doesn't sound like a movie I'd want to see, but if it's for that, oh, I can imagine. So, contact, just to recap from yesterday, blueprints come in from the Vegans, from Vega. They figure out that it's only when you fold up these patterns into a cube, which forms what there in the center, the triangle with the eye in the middle, as it folds up, cube geometry, that's when you can decode the plans to build this, these rings, which becomes this machine. And there's your little helicopter. So there's another shot of it. They got computer animations of how it's going to work with the different rings moving. This actually looks like the fisheye lens distortion effect that happens around the looking glass when you power it on. There's a gantry crane up at the top, and the little guy is dropped down and goes inside. That's like your barrel inside the mechanism there. And this is where all the action happens. This is where the Stargate opens, the wormhole into the higher realms. In this frame, we're seeing how the whole thing collapsed and fell apart. So, of course, you want to take a ride. You know, the new the new formation of the one after the old one breaks. And here we're seeing the new one. Once again, you get a very clear view, and there's your little eye with the rays coming off it, just like the all-seeing eye on the dollar. Not surprising. Here she is. It's even larger than the real one, standing on this ladder, looking down inside. This is the chamber and the chair inside, which we'll see is very important. And here's your geometry. Look at that. Did anybody notice that when you were watching the movie? Because it goes by pretty fast. That's that same geometry that's in the background radiation of the whole universe with the sphere in the center. They fire it up. Guess what happens? Big, bright luminosity, just like the real thing. The real thing that they're actually using and have been using since the 40s at least. And here's what it looked like from the control room. It gets brighter and brighter, and then she starts having the floor disappear. She gets dropped down inside, and then, of course, she goes through this wild wormhole ride, and there's an ascension experience at the end of the dream. The Iraq War had, to a large degree, the mission of capturing a looking glass technology that was dug up in Sumer, which was originally in the possession of Gaddafi in Libya, which is why they attacked Libya. Gaddafi got rid of it and gave it to Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was using this technology, viewing the future. The U.S. government went in after him because they felt that the fate of the world was at stake, because if they did not capture this technology and get it back and deconstruct it, that the Earth would have a pole shift. But when you actually decipher these letters, it means the doctrine of the convergent timeline paradox. Here's the problem. You look through time with this device, and when you hit 2012, everything goes perfectly white. As you get closer and closer to 2012, starting in around 1980, a very strange thing has been happening when they use the looking glass. There is an interlacing of images. So right now, imagine that if I had this slide on half the time, and then the other half of the time there was an image of like a face. And if I interlace them slowly, then maybe every second it goes from here to the face to here to the face. Then as it speeds up, it gets faster and faster to the point that if it were complex images, you couldn't make out one from the other because they're flip-flopping so fast. Okay? That's called interlacing, and the frequency of the interlacing gets higher and higher as you go towards 2012. So anytime that they try to look at, or they used to try to look because they're not using them anymore, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, bam. It's so interlaced that they have a whole server farm of computers just to deconstruct the two images and be able to see what they're looking at in the future. So again, this is what they're using. This is one of the main ones they're using, the Orion Cube as they call it, or the cube. And also it's being used with looking glass. But what's going on with 2012? Well, here's another very interesting thing. We have multiple parallel futures that we can choose. And 2012 literally does represent create your own reality time. It has everything to do with what do you expect is going to happen. This is where thoughts becoming reality really takes on a whole new meaning in a way that you've never heard of before. So what they found that was so bizarre was that at December 21st, 2012, they could calculate it down to the day, that's how precise this was, that for some reason all the graphs, all the waves would go into a complete flat line. They no longer moved up and down like before. They went flat for like 7 or 8 seconds. So then they're asking the guys that went through these stargates and were traveling into the future, what happened to you? Every single time that somebody tried to hit 2012, they said the same thing. There was this thing they called the bump. It actually hits you like a bump. You actually feel like you've slammed into something. And as soon as it slams into you, you have the most incredible religious experience you can imagine. Cosmic consciousness. Your consciousness just blasts into this wonderful place where you have awareness of no space, no time. All knowledge is available to you. Ecstatic God consciousness. You could be the galaxy. You could be a subatomic particle. You can go everywhere, do everything, and there's no sense of it ever ending. So when it finally stops, you just can't even believe that you're back to who you were before.
Like what happened to Jodie Foster?
Exactly what happens to Jodie Foster in Contact. So,
Is that the moment of no time?
that's the zero time, yeah. And Daniel doesn't agree with me on this, but I believe that 2012 is our zero-time reference. And when you hit 2012, everything goes perfectly white.
I found out that I was being physically surveilled by the following method. Tesla had it, Eugene had it, Ken Wheeler, of course, katana wielding, time traveling Dan Cooper. And the fifth one is my dad, to independently discover anti-gravity. It's been independently discovered 4 other times. It has been suppressed every single fucking time. And he said, I don't think they're gonna suppress it this time. He said, I think you're in the clear. They obviously know about you. He was like, if you haven't had a US government agent come to you and say, stop, shut the fuck up. If that hasn't happened, they're going to let you do it. My degree, I have a double degree in biology and chemistry. I did quantum chemistry and organic chemistry and inorganic. I almost finished a PhD in biotechnology. I was doing recombinant protein engineering. He told me that the US government would give me a shit ton of money to keep me from selling it to China. And so I called him and I'm like, can you refer me to an active US Army general, please, to talk about this transaction? And that killed the conversation. Radio silence. They fuck with me. I'm tired of it. Hal is actually extremely evil. He's very quiet. He listens more than he talks. I found out that I was being physically surveilled by the following method.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so we're gonna move on to the, let's see, the third segment, which is the nuclear and national security cases. We're gonna start with Dr. Nuno Loureiro, a professor and the director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center. His work, cutting-edge nuclear fusion, the power of the stars, something deeply tied to both energy independence and weaponization. Now, that's the part right there that a lot of the conspiracy theorists say that Dr. Nuno was basically unalive because they found out basically technology, unending technology, right, to be energy independent, meaning like we don't have to pay for electricity, right? These bills that we have every year during the winter because you gotta have a heater on, they amount to so much money, especially now in these days where everything's so expensive, more expensive than before. So imagine like having these clean technologies out, just basically serving the whole world. Like a lot of these energy planned energies centers will just go bankrupt in overnight. So some people say that this is why these things are going on with these people. On December 15, 2025, he was shot multiple times in his apartment in Brookline, Massachusetts. The killer turned out to be a former classmate from decades ago. Police found a personal motive, but given his position at the pinnacle of fusion research, the timing sets off alarms. You see that? The other one is Steven Garcia, a property custodian at the Kansas City National Security Campus, a facility that produces non-nuclear components for America's nuclear weapons. In August 2025, the 48-year-old disappeared from his Albuquerque, New Mexico home. He left on foot carrying only a handgun and left behind his phone, keys, wallet, and card. He's still missing. The 11 is Anthony Chavez, a 70-year-old retired construction foreman who had worked at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. On May 2025, he walked away from his Alamos home, again, no phone, and missing. The 12 is Melissa Casillas, a 53-year-old administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratory. She vanished on June 26, 2025, leaving behind a chilling clue. Both of her phones were found reset to factory status, empty. This has led investigators to suspect blackmail or deliberate digital scrub. A mother simply erased, so on and so forth. See that? So something's going on. Who knows? Who knows what's going on?
Are you familiar with there being any bases that our government or the cabal might have that would be under the ocean?
Yes.
And how would that work based on what you know? How would you build a base at the bottom of the ocean, let's say?
Well, there's bases that were already there that they took over that have been here for millions of years that were already functional. and they found these bases in different parts and different areas. And most of the bases, so are not just like bubbles on the bottom of an ocean. They're actually under the ocean's crust.
Right.
So that's how they really bore in there, and they build it from underneath up. They don't go down from the surface of the ocean with a bunch of 2x4s and steel parts. It's a very complex, a very advanced way to make an underground sea lab. Sea labs exist all over the world.
That's what it's called, a sea lab?
Sea labs,
Okay.
yeah, are all over the all over the world. Very small. You might see a small one on the bottom of the ocean, but underneath that is really where the base is. It's underneath and the crust of the bottom of the ocean and the rock.
So by digging down first and then working from the bottom up, does
Correct.
that prevent against erosion and cataclysms and that kind of thing?
I think it's probably the safest way to do it without being noticed.
Right.
It's a secrecy thing. After what happened many years ago with the Taos hums, they were worried that people were catching on with what they were doing with this, making these tunnels, but now they're using a different type of technique. Of course, as you know, they make big lava tubes and melt rock, and they don't use the old-fashioned drills. You see these pictures of these ancient drill bits that are like 150 feet in diameter, and
right.
That's old school.
Some skeptics might say that we barely even have the ability to get any submarine that far down. The pressure would crush any type of technology. So how have they overcome those limitations of the pressure?
Oh, no, they don't use submarines that use, our own alien reproduction vehicles. We form our own gravitational force, so we're inside our own gravity field. So we cannot get crushed. I mean, we form, that's why you can go to space, and that's why you see some of these UFOs and these other ones just go right into the water that you keep going, because they're in their own environment and their own gravity. So it'd be easy for that to, for them to transport people or equipment or whatnot. But they always have a direct link to these tunnels, is what it's all about. And there's many tunnels all around the world.
And there's enough pressure that they can generate enough gravity that they can easily counteract the pressure of the ocean?
Oh, absolutely. Plus, they can transdimensionally change the size of themselves.
How would that work?
Well, they kind of like dematerialize, but you're still there, but you're just out of this frequency just a hair, so you're not really you don't fall under the laws of the science.
Yeah, so that was David Wilcock, which is basically he's not a scientist. He didn't work for the government. He was just an author. He spoke a lot of on a lot of these matters in various conferences and whatnot. The 53-year-old died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound outside his home in Boulder County, Colorado. Deputies were responding to a 9/11 call regarding a mental health crisis. He died less than 48 hours after one of his final live streams, where he chillingly told his audience, quote, "Frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. It's a little bit scary," end quote. Right, so the fact that he spoke directly about the missing scientists in his last broadcast was seen by many not as tragic coincidence, but as a sign that he probably knew more than what he was letting on, and his state of fear combined with his sudden death was seen as a highly suspicious. So again, we don't know what's going on, right? Alrighty then, let's see. I think we're gonna close it out. All right, let's see. Yeah, the 13 will be the, I think it was Jason Thomas, a 45-year-old scientist working in chemical biology for Novartis, a pharmaceutical giant. He had no clear connection to aerospace or nuclear tech. On December 13, 1945. He's basically when he died, and that was basically 13 people that died that are part of these world of secret government projects and whatnot. And so 13 names: 4 anti-gravity whistleblowers and researchers, 4 space engineers, 4 nuclear security personnel, and 1 pharmaceutical scientist. 5 are dead, 4 are missing, and 4 die under violent or bizarre circumstances. In almost every case, something essential is missing: an autopsy report, a phone, a motive, a body. The United States House Oversight Committee is officially looking into these deaths. The FBI has been asked to brief Congress. Representative Eric Burlinson has argued that the pattern of unusual deaths and vanishing researchers tied to sensitive government work demands an investigation. The White House has expressed hope it's all a coincidence. The official narrative from the United States asks you to believe one thing: that this is all tragic, random coincidence. That a plasma physicist from MIT, a retired Air Force Major General who once commanded a top research lab, and a young whistleblower ready to testify on UAPs just happened to all meet untimely ends within a few years of each other. But I leave you with this question: when exactly does a coincidence become a pattern? And when does a pattern become a cover-up? In every one of these cases, the door has been closed quickly. Autopsies were never performed, reports were sealed. If there's nothing to hide, why is there so little to see? Amy Eskridge believed that if you stuck your neck out in public, they couldn't make you disappear quietly. That's why when she basically came out and began to whistleblow this information about anti-gravity technologies, she went public. She created her own institute with her father, right, where they were basically like spilling the beans and sharing the secrets and stuff. And obviously the powers that be, or whoever they are, or the contracts that these people have with the government, they didn't like that they were basically spilling the secrets, because it could be, like the United States enemies could listen or grab the information and use it to basically like advance themselves, in this geopolitical warfare that's still going on. So these 13 stories are in the public now. The question is, will we do something about it, or will we just turn off the microphone and let the next name be added to the list? Until next time, keep looking up and keep questioning everything. This is your brother Shamar of the Ancient Watchman. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Let's see. What do we got?
After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep